Hello, scholars.
Good evening.
It's Mr.
And
Ray.
Miss Cook.
So it's so interesting that I'm here making a special appearance with the fifth graders because some of my previous students are siblings to some of the
Okay.
students in the fifth grade. And I also happen to push in and help with,
Right, Delaware State.
Delaware State and the other classes. So I'm super excited to be working with you all today. And we brought some really cool things. I hear that in class, you all have been working with rectangular prisms.
Yes,
Yes, rectangular prisms.
lots of layers.
It's so many layers. I see layers so many places. So I see layers on top.
Mhm.
Wow, I could see layers in front
Mhm.
and I see layers on the sides. Wow, this is cool. So we're gonna do some exploration of how these layers work. I'm super excited to work with you all. So when I put all of these pieces together, I can create a rectangular prism, but I can determine the volume of this rectangular prism, or I can count the pieces within this rectangular prism by looking at it from the top. So count with me from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Mhm.
9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
So I know that the top has 12 cubes, but that's just one layer. But how many more layers do we have left? Share that with your family. 2. I have one layer of 12, I have another layer of 12, and I have another layer of 12.
Mhm.
Together, that makes not one, not two, but 3 layers of 12.
Yeah, and there's two different ways you can find that. You can add 12 3 times. And what's the other thing you can do?
Hmm. Multiply 12 times 3.
Right.
What? That's so cool. Well, I looked at it one way. I looked at it from the layers of the top. Is there another way to look at it, Miss Cook?
Well, if you have top layers, you probably have front layers and side layers.
Oh, I see a front layer. I'm looking right at it.
Mhm.
So let's see the front layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 again.
Yes.
So this front layer is 12, but when I pull this down, how many layers go back? 1, 2, 3. So that's another group of 3
That's a
letters
12.
or
Mhm.
sets of
Mhm.
12. I think there's one more way to look
I
at
think
this.
so.
What do you think?
Maybe turn it.
All right. What? This is different. Oh my gosh.
Doesn't look like 12.
It doesn't look like 12.
Mm.
Wow. I feel like this may have a lot more layers. What do you think?
It has a few more layers, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, let's count. So this front layer has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh wow, this front layer has
Nine. So a
9
little bit
cubes.
less cubes.
A
Yeah.
little bit less cubes, but let's see how many layers. We can tilt it to see. Let's see, that's one,
Hmm. Right.
2, 3, 4 layers of 9
9.
cubes.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that would be 4 times
9.
9,
Mhm.
or 9 plus 9 plus 9
Mhm.
plus 9.
Yep.
Scholars, this is so cool. I should get in y'all class more often, Miss Cook. Oh, it's going down. We're gonna have so much fun. Now it's time for the work. All right,
Mr. Ray.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Miss Cook. Let's get to business. I'm super excited. All right, so let's switch the camera. Here we go. So as you know, you have your scrap paper and you have your work. Miss Cook always says, and Miss Musa will always want you all to try the workout yourself. You want to try all the problems out yourself. So we just did some exploration. What I want you to do now is pause the video and work on all of these problems on this sheet of paper first, right? How do you do that? Here's the CFS. Separate the papers. Show your working, your thinking for the problems on this paper first, Then you're gonna continue this video, press play, and we will check it out. So go ahead and pause it and start working on those problems if you haven't done so already, because I know there are some scholars that got straight to work. All right, let's get to work. So as we did some exploration with the cube, here's another way we can look at it. We looked at the cubes in physical form. Now we can look at the cubes on paper. As we see, the volume of this rectangular prism is 24 unit cubes. Let's do some exploration. So one way we see it is the top layer, just like earlier. The top layer, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you can write whatever you see me writing, you can write 7 and 8. So there are 8 cubes on the top layer. How cool is that? But how many layers do we have? We have 1 layer of 8 cubes, 2 layer. Since it's directly on top, I know it's the same amount of cubes, 2 layers of 8 cubes and 3 layers of 8 cubes. That means that I can either count 8 3 times, or I can multiply 8 times 3, just like this, to get 24. Another way to see it is the front layer. Let me highlight the front layer. Go ahead and highlight the front layer with me. This is the front layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. In this front layer, there are 12. And how many layers go behind? So this is 1, sorry. And then this is 2. 1 and 2. So there are two front layers of 12. So we can multiply 12 times 2 or add 12 2 times. And you also get 24 cubes. Interesting. Another way is the side layer. You see it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all of this right here represents the side layer. But let's see how far it goes back. 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes back 4 layers. So 6 groups of 4 is also 24. We're going to be looking at multiple ways to see and determine the amount of cubes that are in the rectangular prism using volume. Okay. We're going to look at this one with the top layer. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find the top layer. Found it. Go ahead and arrow where the top layer is. You see it? Then we want to count all of the units on the top layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that top layer is 12. Wow. And that top layer represents all of this. That's all of the top layer. You see it? That's the top layer. But how many layers are there? There's 1 layer, there's 2 layer, and there's 3 layers. What does this remind you of? Talk to your parents about that. What does this remind you of? Did we just do something like this? Yes, we did. And we know the top layer is 12, and there are 3 layers of 12. So top layer is 12, and there are 3 layers, which means that our number sentence is 12 times 3. And 12 times 3 is 24. But we want to say what it is. 24 cubes. Okay, let's look at this one. So we did it the top layer. I want to try it a different way. Maybe we can look at it the front layer. So I want you to arrow the front layer. This is the front layer. So this was the top layer. Now this is the front layer. Let's look at it. First, we want to count all the cubes in the front layer. Whew, bear with me. This is a lot of cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll race you 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Am I winning? 15, 16, 17, woo, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. That was so much. I think I could have solved this easier. I could have said going down is 6 and going across is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 times 5 is 30. So I could have went down and across and then multiplied those two together to figure it out. And so now we know that this is the top layer. You see it? This is the top layer. But how many layers? Go back. 1, 2. So the top layer, this is the front layer. The front layer is 30. And there are 2 layers going back. See? I know this is 1 layer and I know this is another layer. So it's 2 layers going back, which means that it's going to be 30 times 2. And 30 times 2 is, sometimes I have a hard time multiplying. Wait, but I know 2 times 3 and 2 times 3 is 6. And there's a placeholder and I could just bring that down. So I know 30 times 2 is 60 units cubed or 60 cubed. Okay, so we looked at the top layer. We looked at the front layer. Now we need to look at the side layer. So first, we want to see the side layer. Here's the side layer. Oh, wait, but there are some words here, so we want to read it. Select all the expressions. Expressions have no equal. Write that. Expressions have no equal. It's just a way to express what we have. It has no equal sign. Don't forget that. You'll need it for 6th grade. Another thing that stands out is select all. Select all means there is always more than one answer. So if it was a select all problem and you only found one answer, do you think you got that problem right? Nope. You did not get that problem right because select all means that there is always more than one answer. Guess what? It is not a trick. There is always more than one answer. So I see a lot of answer choices, but maybe I can solve this using all of the strategies we just used. Let's look at the side. So I want to write this down. I want to show my work using the side layer. I want to show my work using the front layer. And I want to show my work using the top layer. And let's see if we can figure out if any of these expressions work. So the side layer, we want to count the side layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there are 8 cubes on the side layer. And how many layers go back? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know the side layer is 8 times 4. Does any expression match that? If an expression matches 8 times 4, go ahead and circle it. Now we did the side layer. Now let's look at the front layer. We want to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we learned that we can multiply down and across. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 times 4 is 16. So the front layer is 16. And how many layers back do it go? 1, 2. It goes 2 layers back. So that's 16 times 2. Is there an expression that represents 16 times 2 in the answer? If there is, go ahead and circle it. Now let's look at the top layer. So we just did the side layer. We did the front layer. Now let's look at the top layer. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's see how many layers down it go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 8 on the top times 4 layers down. Is there any expressions that represent 8 times 4? We also know, based on the commutative property, multiplication can be seen multiple ways. So 8 times 4 is the same as 4 times 8. 16 times 2 is the same as 2 times 16. And 8 times 4 is the same as 4 times 8. So let's see. I want you all to figure out the answer choices. But no matter what, select all tells us that there's always more than one answer. Go ahead and pause the video, or you can rewind the video to go back, whatever helps you. I'm going to go ahead and move forward though. Turn the page. It says, which rectangular prism does not have a volume of 30 cubic units? Does not. That means that I need to solve all problems to determine which does not, right? Okay. Now, 30. Let's see. Let's look at this from the top layer. Let's look at this from the side layer. Let's look at this from the front layer. And let's look at this from the top layer. So on the top, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6 times 5 is 30 cubed. But it said does not have a volume, but this does. If it does, then I don't need to select that answer because does not means that it needs to be a different answer. Let's look at this one. Let's look at it from the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it's 3 layers back. So that tells me 10 times 3. And 10 times 3 is 30. You know what? Excuse me. I'm tired of doing all of this for you. I want you to figure the next ones out on your own and to tell me which does not have 30 cubes because I know that A has 30 cubes, so that's not correct. I know C has 30 cubes, so that's not correct. I want you on your own to figure these two out. Now, fluency. Go ahead and set a timer for 30 seconds. Press go. and then try to get all of these done in 30 seconds. Go ahead and pause the video so you can do that. Now let's look at this one. This one looks a little irregular. This is interesting. But when it's irregular, I can look at it a different way. I can look at it from the front because the front matches the back, right? If I look at it irregular from the front, I know it matches the back. Maybe I have to look at an irregular a different way, but I know for now, the front matches the back. So I can count the front 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let me double check because who knows? I can make a silly mistake. 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15. And there are 2 layers. So that's 15 times 2. And 15 times 2 is, figure out your answer and choose your answer. Let's look at this one. How can I look at this one? You want to look at it from multiple layers. If I look at it from the front layer, it's going to pop out. So it looks a little weird. If I look at it from the side layer, it's not all even. But if I look at it from the top layer, it's all even. So I want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say that again. When it's a regular rectangular prism, I can look at it from any layer. But here, I have to look at it from a specific layer. I couldn't look at it from the front because you see how these two peek out and it's not completely filled. So I can't do that. Can't look at it from the side layer because although these peek out, these are in. You see that? But if I look at it from the top, it makes a perfect sandwich. And if it makes a perfect sandwich, that tells me that the same amount of cubes on the top is going to be the same amount of cubes on the bottom. So let's count that again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 on the top, and then there's 2 units. And 10 times 2 is, go ahead and choose what your answer is. Here's another fluency. Wow, before we just multiplied 2 digits, but now we have to multiply 3 digits. Tired already. 6 times 2 is 12. But it tells me I still have this left. I have to bring that down. And 12 times 3 is 36. Let's look at this one. 7 times 3 is 21. But I'm not done because I have to bring this down. Times 2 is 42. Go ahead and finish the rest of them. I can't wait for Miss Cook or Miss Nana. Please excuse me if that's not her last name. I have to ask her because she's my really close friend. So if you don't call her Miss Nana, please don't call her Miss Nana. Call her what you know to call her. All right? Thank you so much. Thanks, parents. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed teaching it to you and your child. Go ahead and send your teachers some feedback. Tell them if it helped. Tell them if your child is starting to understand it more. Thank you. Have a good night.